What up, Infinity Hearts gang? It's your boy Infinity Hearts, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different on the channel. I'm going to be talking about an anime that I loved as a kid, and I've rewatched it now as an adult a couple times, and it's just a classic to me. And I've learned a lot of things that I didn't understand as a kid. I understand now, and I'd like to talk about it with you guys because we can apply it to modern day, in the situation that we live in currently. And yeah, it's just a good anime. And you're probably wondering, like, yo, what anime are you talking about? The anime I am talking about is Biggu Ō, which you probably knew that from the title of the video. But today we're going to be talking about Biggu Ō, so spoiler warnings. If you've never seen it, I would advise you to go watch it. It's a great anime. But if you've never seen it and you don't want to watch it, this video will pretty much cover everything for you. So without further ado, let's just jump into the narration of what's going on. In Big O, there's a city called Paradigm City. It's the only city we ever get to see, not because the story tells us it's the last one, but because no one inside it remembers anything beyond it. Paradigm City is enclosed beneath massive artificial domes, enormous structures that seal off the city from the outside world like a lid placed on a container. No one remembers who built these domes, no one remembers what's on the outside of them, and no one remembers a lifetime before they existed. This is not treated as a mystery by the people who live there, it's treated as a norm. See, 40 years before the events of Big O, something happened. The series never names it beyond calling it the event. In a single moment, every human in Paradigm City lost all their memories. They didn't forget their language, they didn't forget their skills, they didn't forget how society works. They forgot themselves. Parents woke up not knowing their children. Professionals woke up knowing how to do their jobs, but not why they chose them. Governments continue to operate without remembering who funded them or what they were meant to represent. Paradigm City did not collapse, it stabilized. See, this is the first unsettling idea at the heart of Big O. Human civilization does not require memory to function, only habit. In this world steps the main character, Roger Smith. Roger is introduced as a negotiator. In practical terms, this means he's hired to resolve disputes that are too dangerous, too strange, or too politically sensitive for ordinary authorities. He retrieves kidnapped individuals, diffuses standoffs, and intervenes when conflicts threaten to spiral out of control. But Roger, yeah, he's not your typical action protagonist. He's quiet, formal, reserved. He dresses in a black suit and tie, drives a vintage car, and lives by a personal code that no one else seems to share. Roger, like everyone else, has no memory of life before the event. But unlike everyone else, he behaves as if that loss matters. From the very first episode, the show established contrast. Roger rescues a woman who believes she is the daughter of one of the city's most powerful men, only to discover her identity, like so many things in Paradigm City, may be based on incomplete or fabricated memory. This pattern repeats throughout the series. People just don't lack memories, they unknowingly build replacements for them. Paradigm City is full of people playing roles they inherited without knowing where these roles came from. Visually, the city reinforces this ideal. It looks like a future designed by someone who's never saw one. Art Deco skyscrapers rise alongside outdated technology and impossibly advanced machines. The aesthetic is inconsistent, deliberately so. This is not a world that evolved naturally. It is a world that continued after context was removed. Beneath Paradigm City lies its true foundation. Deep underground are massive vaults containing colossal machines known as megas. These are giant humanoid constructs, each one unique, each one dormant, until something causes them to awaken. No one remembers who built these machines, and no one remembers what they was originally used for. But when they activate, the city shakes, not just physically, but psychologically as well. Their presence feels like something ancient resurfacing, something that was never meant to be forgotten. Roger controls one of these machines. It's called Big O. Big O is not sleek or fast. It's slow, towering, and immersively heavy. Every step it takes feels deliberate, as if it was designed to move only when absolutely necessary. Big O is not introduced as a superhero's weapon either. It's introduced as the last resort. Whenever Paradigm City faces a threat that cannot be explained, rogue megadays, forgotten technology, reactivating, or individual uncovering truths that destabilizes the city, Big O is summoned. And when Big O appears, the goal is never progress. The goal is restoration. Living with Roger is a woman Well, she ain't a woman, but living with Roger is Dorothy Wainwright. She is an android designed to resemble a young woman. Dorothy is not a secret robot. Everyone knows she's artificial, and she knows it too. What makes Dorothy unusual is not that she can think, it's that she remembers. Dorothy knows who created her. She understands her own design. She has a conscious sense of self, something no human in Paradigm City possesses. As the series unfolds, this contrast becomes increasingly important. Dorothy displays empathy, morale, reasoning, and emotional awareness that often surpasses those of humans around her. In a city of forgotten people, the machine is the one with continuality. The inversion is intentional. Another recurring figure in the show is Angel, a woman who appears unpredictably throughout the story. Angel is intelligent, manipulative, and deeply curious about Paradigm City, its true nature. Unlike most citizens, she actively seeks answers about the events, the domes, and the structure of reality itself. Where Roger prioritizes stability, Angel prioritizes truth. And the truth Big O makes is clear. These goals are not compatible. As characters dig deeper into the past, strange things begin to happen. Forgotten districts reappear, old systems activate. Reality itself begins to behave inconsistently as if resisting examination. Paradigm City does not simply hide its past, it suppresses it. By the time the series reaches its later episodes, it becomes impossible to ignore the implication that Paradigm City may be a closed system, a controlled environment designed to function without memory. When the system destabilizes too much, it doesn't adapt, it resets, and that reset works. This is where Big O stops being a mystery and becomes a provocation, because the question is no longer what happened to this world. The question becomes, if a world can function without truth, should it ever remember? Once you understand the basic structure of Paradigm City, a strange pattern begins to emerge. The city does not simply experience crisis, it experiences specific kinds of crisis. These are not random crimes or accidents. These are moments where the past presses too hard against the present, where something forgotten tries to assert itself again. A man believes he remembers a life he don't align with the city's reality. A machine activates without authorization. A district surfaces that no one remembers building. And every time this happens, the city reacts. Not emotionally, systematically. In episodes like Electric City and Missing Cat, the conflicts themselves are really small, a power shortage, a missing animal, but they reveal something enormous beneath the surface. Entire infrastructures exist that no one remembers maintaining. Energy grids operating without oversight. Systems persist long after creators disappeared. This tells us something crucial. Paradigm City is not merely surviving on momentum, it's being sustained, but not by people, by systems that outlive their authors. This is where the Megadeths stop being giant robots and kind of start being like architectural pillars of reality. Each Megadeth appears tied to an individual, not through choice, but through compatibility. These pilots do not discover these machines through effort or destiny. They are recognized by them. The machines respond as if identity itself is the credential, which raises a disturbing possibility. Identity in Paradigm City may be less about personal history and more about a system's role. Roger does not pilot Big O because he earned it. He pilots Big O because he fits a condition that the system still recognizes. This reframes Roger entirely. He is not an exception to the city's logic. He's an expression of it. Big O itself behaves less like a weapon and more like a failsafe. It is deployed when contradictions threaten the city's equilibrium, when too many suppressed elements surface at once. Big O does not advance the city, it restores it. And restoration in Big O always means returning things to a known state. That distinction becomes clearer when we examine how the show treats memory. Memory is not portrayed as sacred, it's portrayed as volatile. Characters who recover fragments of the past rarely find peace. Instead, they experience confusion, obsession, and alienation. They don't integrate, they destabilize. This show is making a claim here. It's an uncomfortable one. Memory without context is dangerous. Paradigm City removed memory, but it did not replace it with understanding. People still feel the absence. They just don't know how to name it. This is why nostalgia appears throughout the show in strange, distorted forms, old music, old aesthetics, old rituals, meanings, whose has evaporated. The city remembers style without remembering substance. By the second season, the show begins to fracture its own narrative rules. Reality becomes inconsistent, scenes repeat with variations, characters behave as if they are vaguely aware that something is wrong without being able to articulate. Damn, I know I can say that word. Characters behave if they are vaguely characters behave as if they are vaguely aware that something is wrong without being able to articulate. I don't know why I had so much problem saying articulate without being able to articulate what. This is not bad writing, even though what I just said was bad speaking. Please apologize, all the mumble jumble. This is one take, we keeping it in. This is not bad writing though. This is the point. This is the world that Biggu Ō is starting to behave like a story that knows it's a story. And that's when the domes take on their final meaning. The domes are not walls, they are boundaries and narrative. Everything inside them exists within a controlled set of conditions. Everything outside is undefined, not because it doesn't exist, but because it doesn't need to. Paradigm City is a closed system, and closed systems don't evolve, they loop. This is what makes the ending inevitable. When the contradictions pile up and too much memories threaten to surface, the system does what it was designed to do. It resets. The city persists, the characters persist, the structures hold. Roger does not break the loop, he completes it. This is the hardest truth of Biggu Ō to accept. Roger is not fighting the system, he's maintaining it. He's negotiating between collapse and continuity, ensuring that the reset occurs without total annihilation. He is not the hero who frees humanity. He is the function that ensnares humanity. He is the function that ensures humanity continues, even if he never understands why. The show doesn't condemn his role, it presents it honestly, because Biggu Ō understands something profoundly modernly. Systems don't need meaning to function, they only need stability, and stability often requires forgetting. Paradigm is a city that forgot itself and learned how to keep going away, and once you see that, Biggu Ō stops being a mystery you solve and it becomes a mirror you recognize. You see, by the time Biggu Ō reaches its final act, it quietly changes genres. It's no longer a noir, it's no longer just about mecha, it's no longer even just science fiction. It becomes a story about stories. Up until this point, the show has trained us to ask the wrong question. We keep asking, what happened to Paradigm City? But the show is asking something else entirely. Who decides what gets remembered? Paradigm City behaves less like a place and more like a narrative construct, a setting governed by rules that feel authored rather than natural. Events repeat with variation, characters drift toward familiar roles, conflicts arise not from random chaos, but from structural tension. The city does not feel lived in, it feels maintained. This is why the second season feels disorienting to so many viewers. Scenes echo earlier moments, logic bends, reality feels unstable, not just because it's breaking, but because it's being revised. The world is no longer pretending to be objective, it is revealing itself as written. This is where Roger Smith's true role becomes clear. Roger is just not a negotiator within a story, he is a negotiator of the story. He exists to prevent narrative collapse. When the plot threatens a spiral, when too much truth surfaces, whenever contradictions multiply, Roger intervenes. He doesn't resolve the mystery, he stabilizes the framework. Biggu Ō is not a symbol of power, it's a reset mechanism, and not for the city, but for the narrative itself. Biggu Ō appears when the story risks becoming unsustainable, and when the world accumulates too much unresolved meaning. Biggu Ō intervenes to reduce complexity. This is why the show never gives us a clean explanation of the event, because an explanation would end the story, and the Biggu Ō is not interested in the ending. It's interested in continuing. Paradigm City is not failing to remember the past, it's being prevented from doing so. Not because truth is evil, but because truth is terminal. A story that explains itself completely has nowhere left to go. So the Biggu Ō does something radical. It chooses recursive. I can say this word too, I promise. The Biggu Ō does. Let me hit my water. I already hit the water. The Biggu Ō does something radical. It chooses recursion over resolution. The ending does not reveal the truth of the world. It demonstrates the function of the world. The reset is not a twist, it's a reveal of authorship. Reality loops because narrative demands it. The city persists because the story must continue. And Roger, calm, restrained, and endlessly negotiating, is the character who ensures that continuation without rupture. He is not the hero who frees the characters from the story. He is the character who keeps them inside of it. This reframes Dorothy's role one final time. Dorothy, as an artificial being, understands authorship instinctively. She knows she was done. She knows she has a purpose. She does not rebel against this knowledge. She integrates it. Humans in Paradigm City, by contrast, sense authorship but can't accept it. They feel controlled without understanding control. They feel lost without knowing what was lost. Dorothy is at peace because she knows she is written. Humans suffer because they suspect that they are. Dorothy does not suffer from this instability. Her memory isn't intact and her identity is continuous. And because of that, she is emotionally coherent in the way that humans are not. She does not chase meaning. She does not fear meaning. She simply exists as what she is. This is deeply subversive because it suggests that artificial beings may be better suited to survive in a system without historical grounding, precisely because they do not accept one. Humans, by contrast, are haunted by a missing dimension that they can't articulate. Angels sense this more clearly than any. Not angels. Angel senses this more clearly than anyone. She appears whenever the narrative approaches forbidden language. She always pushes further than Roger is comfortable going. Angel understands that Paradigm City is not simply hiding its past, it's curating reality. She recognizes patterns. She recognizes patterns, the resets, the recurrences, the same way events unfold with different faces. Angel is not just looking for truth, she's looking for the author. Angel represents the one force that could break the loop. She seeks the author, she seeks the outside, she seeks the truth that exists beyond the dome, beyond the narrative boundary, and this is why Angel can never win, because finding the author would end the story, and the Big O is a story refusing to end. The final image of the city continuing is not a hopeful one, and it's not a despairing one. It's an honest one, because this shows how systems work. They do not seek truth, they seek stability. They don't preserve meaning, they preserve function. Paradigm City is a system that learned how to survive without understanding itself, and that is the most modern ideal in our entire show. We live in systems today we did not design, governed by rules we did not choose, sustained by mechanisms no one fully understands. Yet they persist not because they are just, but because they work. Memory is trimmed, context is flattened, complexity is managed. And when contradictions grow too large, the system resets. Big O does not warn us about technology, it warns us about maintenance. All about what happens when things keep running, because more important than knowing why they run at all. I said that bad. It warns us about maintenance, about what happens when keeping things running becomes more important than knowing why they are running at all. And that's why the show never explains itself, because explanation is liberation, and liberation would end the loop. Paradigm City continues because it must. Roger negotiates because someone has to. Big O activates because the story cannot afford collapse, and the viewer is left with a realization that lingers far than any answer could. That reality, like narrative, is not something we discover. It's something we agree to keep going, and then if we no longer remember why. And I'd just like to say thank you guys. This is my first attempt at doing one of these videos. I really enjoyed talking about this. This is one of my favorite animes ever. And I hope you had fun and enjoyed yourself as well. The Big O gets a lot of pushback, but when you really watch it and understand it, it's a classic. So yeah, much love, Infinity Hearts gang.